Happy Friday. This is Ron Mullins checking in, aka Rev Ron, and we have brought our podcast back. We've got a fill-in producer, Harry Pothead. He's going by. He's also a token millennial, meaning he was born and grew up during the new millennium, and then he's also toking quite a bit, right? Say say hello, Harry.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Hopefully the show sounds good. He got his training on the fly. What time did we start training you to try to do this?
About 15 minutes ago.
Sounds about right. Unfortunately, Wisecraft had to work. Maybe he's able to put us on at work. If you are, shout out to Wisecraft and all his buddies and coworkers at A Therapeutic Alternative, a personal favorite dispensary of mine in the Sacramento area. I want to give them a shout out, but I always start before I do shout outs to mention that nobody's paying me for shout outs. My shout outs are completely earned by merit. So I'm not saying I won't do it in the future, but when I do that in the future, I will be saying so-and-so gave me this free thing and I'm giving him a shout out. So shout out to Therapeutic Alternative. Thanks for being awesome. Thank you for employing the activists of our community and for constantly being right there in the middle. They work with NORML, they work with ASA. They have these they have these amazing services, including yoga, which is put on by Wisecraft. And they have tone therapy, massage. All you have to do is be a member, and you can get all these other great services really good, really cheap, and you can get a good joint like I'm lighting here. Wax, edibles, you name it. Here you go.
You can even get starters if you need to.
Exactly. So, hey, we're going to go on to the news in just a minute, but as we always do, we start with apologies. I have to apologize for the last show 3 weeks ago. We were trying some new tech, and there was a reverb, which ruined the whole show. And actually, we had one of our best guests ever, Clarmundo Sullivan, who came and talked about HIV and cannabis. And unfortunately, that show, we deleted it. It was an embarrassment. Clarmundo's not available to come on today. I pressured him, but he's just so busy. You know, we had the Supreme Court declare gay marriage legal, or at least not allowing gay marriage unconstitutional. And so that's a big, huge shift. And there's going to be a big party tonight at the Capitol, a big celebration and rally, news photo op. And that's going to be at the steps of the Capitol at 6 o'clock here in downtown Sacramento. And that's excellent news, too. Do we have any viewers yet? I didn't highly Awesome. I didn't highly publicize this episode. We weren't really sure we were going to do it because Wisecraft had to work, but thank goodness that Harry came in and that we're able to get this going. So, big news today. Gay pride. Gay marriage. Now, what does that mean to pot? Well, I have been harping for years that the LGBT movement has actually been a modernization and an amalgamization of past civil rights movements. So it's a great model to show how things are going to go in the future. Do we sound all right? Something wrong? Getting a reverb from where? Let me check here. Is it gone? No. You still getting the reverb? What the heck? What that could be caused from? The phone's not on. Sorry, folks. Let me take a listen to this and see if we got it. Sounds okay on this headphone.
Does it?
So far.
On the headphone here, it sounds reverb.
No, it sounds okay on this. You probably have a slight reverb on your headphones, but it's not showing on the podcast as far as I can tell.
Awesome. Just wanted to make sure.
Sorry, guys. Well, yeah, it sounds okay. I could hear us talking about the reverb now. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you, though, for checking, because last time we had reverb a whole episode, And I mean this in the most loving way. The stoner didn't check it, and so we didn't get through. So, anyways, so as the gay movement moves forward, and we're going to see the marijuana movement move forward, and we're going to see candidates moving towards, because it's about personal freedom. It's about whether being an American means you're supposed to be this hard worker who never has fun and shoulder to the grindstone, and or are we about wellness and peace and love and freedom? And I think it's the latter. And so the gay movement is really aligned with the marijuana movement in that regard. So great news on that. We're going to do a whole show. We got Clint Werner coming on later, author of the book Marijuana Gateway to Health. Not hell, but health. And it's a great book. And as most of you know, Clint Werner is a activist. He's also in a same-sex relationship. And I'm going to ask him, because, you know, it's not that simple in the gay world right now, whether you're married or not. In fact, one of my friends was just describing it on Facebook. They got married during what now is historically known as the window, when Gavin Newsom was somebody at the door? Okay. When Gavin Newsom did his, and it's a great book, and as most of you know, Clint Werner is a activist. Okay, now we have a whole fucking problem now. The whole show's, because somebody showed up in the middle of the show that was told not to, pulled my headphones out. What the fuck ever. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to try to get back focused. So Gavin Newsom had made the window, and some people got married during that. And then after that, it was pulled back from Proposition 8, and people who got married under Proposition 8 were suddenly had their marriages annulled. And then some people got remarried after the California Supreme Court ruling. Others opted to wait until we have what happened today, when we have federal. Some in solidarity with other gay couples who couldn't get married in states where it's not legal, and others because they were afraid it was going to get ripped out of their hands again. It was just emotional for them. So we'll find out Clint Werner's actual marital status, because I don't even know. And then we're going to also talk about gay pride, and we're talking about the gay community and how it relates to cannabis. And I think what we're going to start off with, though, is the marijuana news. The marijuana news is just me telling the news as I remember it, as it pops into my head. We had some movement. I don't know if you all know, but Assembly Bills 34 and 266 have merged and got a really big vote in the legislature, which means it's moving on. There's going to be a lot of lobbying. There's a lot of language that a lot of people are uncomfortable with, particularly with cultivation. So you're going to see people like Hezekiah Allen, Nate Bradley, Asa Don Duncan, Dale Geringer, Ellen Comp. All the big heavy hitters are on this. And I'm hoping that they're able to get some amendments in there, because it seems, whilst legalization, nobody wants to call it inevitable, it seems that medical marijuana regulation is inevitable. We have seen some evolutions in the federal, which I've talked about ad nauseum, and we're going to see more of that. And we're going to see state regulations. We're going to see, I think we're going to have legalization. I'm really optimistic. And that comes in the other news. We just had the High Times Cup, and I got to go to the High Times Cup. Have you ever been to a big cup, Harry?
No, I have never been to a
Oh, my God. God, I can't remember his name right now. I know his last name is McShane.
Thank God we know you actually went to the cup.
Yeah, McShane. Yeah, McShane. I can't remember his first name right now. He was at the Robert Plathorn Should Grandma Smoke Pot booth. He told me the funniest thing. He called it Dabalon. And I thought, well, that's funny. But I went out there. It really was Dabalon. Everybody was giving away free dabs. But it was a huge, harmonious, fun event. And there were speakers. MCLR had a booth. I did some photography for them. They had kind of this interesting interaction with the CCPR people. They were in the audience. CCPR came out. The Senator Gravel, came over to the MCLR booth. I know this all sounds foreign, but what I'm taking from it, stoner translation, is that maybe CCPR and maybe MCLR, which are two different legalization initiatives. One has filed, the other is working on language and taking a different strategy and a wait and see. Maybe they could come together. That would be awesome. Come together right now over weed. So that's some great news. Then the CCPR people, also known as the Drug Policy Alliance, had a roundtable discussion in Oakland. I think it was a week ago, Tuesday. It was a big game. It was a crazy event. There was a lot of people shouting from the sports game, but there wasn't. It was actually pretty mellow in the hall. And Dale Sky Jones and Dale Garinger and Christina and a lot of great people spoke, and they put these charts up, and they really listened to the input. So, I'm really hoping that we could come up with a law that we could all stand behind, because if we don't, it's going to be embarrassing. You're going to have tons of states that have legalization, and California's still floundering. So I don't know. I'm optimistic that the American gods of weed, like Dale Sky Jones, Dale Garinger, John Lee, Dave Hodges, all these people can come together and legalize weed. It would be amazing.
I feel like as the gay community, we have a responsibility to help our brothers and sisters and those in between who have louder.
Yeah, because it's not come up big on that.
Who have been incarcerated by the system for simply growing or possessing marijuana. You know, the legislation for marijuana is so much just not even about an actual plant, but just as a net for what's like a prison slave system. Right. We have more incarcerated now than any state in any nation in the world, and most of those are minor crimes relating to marijuana.
It's the new Jim Crow, but instead of focusing on skin color, it focuses on lifestyle. Mm-hmm. They consider us low class weed growers. So and the laws keep us enslaved. You're right.
And even in the past, even when the law was first made, skin color was and sexuality were actual factors they put into the law. They considered the fact that many of the southern blacks who were now coming into the north, having been freed, trying to escape the violent racism, were taking this crop that was so wildly grown in the South before the Prohibition times, before cannabis was made illegal in the early 1900s, that they started denoting it as some type of racial marker, almost like the way the inner city will denote crack cocaine towards what they, colored folks. You'll hear that all the time, mm-hmm. is that crack is for colors. And, that has so much racial bias to it. But in actuality, the grain of truth is that crack cocaine was distributed primarily to colored in disenfranchised people in the inner city to make that stereotype a truth. And so with the new marijuana stereotypes we also need to look into the fact that we're not just fighting a xenophobic stereotype for a plant. We're trying to fight back against the prison corporations and what they have planned for us.
Precisely. And cannabis is just one component of that, of the criminalization of the common people.
Exactly.
Let's see what else we have in cannabis news. I kind of glossed over a lot of it. We're going to probably go ahead and move on to our next shout out. Hey, Harry, remember yesterday I said, you want to try some CBD cacao sipping cacao? What did you say?
Yes, cacao.
You said something about tastes like dirt, right?
No, it's.
What's your experience though with cacao? Not the product we're about to try, but cacao in general.
Cacao. The most I've ever tried was I had Mexican sipping cocoa.
Okay.
And it was very spicy, and I'm much more a fan of milk chocolate, so I'm kind of excited.
Cacao isn't usually very sweet.
Yeah, it's not. It's
Now,
very bitter.
I got this sipping cacao from my buddy Maya at Ohm Edibles. And they're at ohmedibles.org.
It's creamy.
And I'll announce a list of dispensaries. It's actually really good and creamy, isn't it?
It is. It's
We
really.
made it with some soy milk, and it's a CBD rich. That's what I like, because CBDs help with the calming for me, and I get a little stressed, a little spastic.
And it doesn't have that. There's so many false cacaos out on the market, and you can taste it. You can taste the grittiness in your mouth and in the back of your throat. It tastes like a powder. This isn't. This is clearly not.
Yeah, it's delicious, and it comes in a little jar, and you scooped it out.
It's a
We
solid.
microwaved
like
in our handy dandy those little kettles for the microwave, and yeah, it dissolved really good. I'm going to call up Maya. She said she'd answer the phone, but you know how that goes with these cannabis stoners. There are a lot of times they're super busy.
You got lots of phone calls and stuff. I feel it.
Okay, so this will be our first phone call without the good speakerphone. Unfortunately, it wouldn't work. So, can you hear that ringing? Is it coming through?
Oh, that's coming through.
Okay. So, shout out to Ohm Edibles, who has a whole line of products. And we're trying to get Maya from Ohm on the phone to talk about her sipping cacao, and then which won an award, by the way.
Hello?
Hello, is this Maya?
Yes.
Maya, it's Ron.
Hi, Ron.
So this is the first time we talked since High Times. Congratulations on the award.
Thank you so much.
I was about to embarrass myself by trying to state exactly what the award was, but luckily you answered. So the cacao won what?
Well, we won 2 awards. We got first place Best CBD Edible, and we got third place Best THC Edible.
Sorry, I was checking the sound check. Did I miss something?
No, she got first place CBD edible.
Okay, first place
And
CBD edible, and then what was your other award you won?
Third place THC Edible.
Wow.
Which was your
Tree Hugger.
tree hugger.
Ooh.
That is a nut cluster with hemp hearts. To describe that.
It is a superfood cluster. It's vegan and gluten-free. It's almonds, hemp hearts, pecans, maple syrup, vanilla, cinnamon, and it's a delicious, high-protein, healthy snack.
With a light dose, right? How many milligrams per jar?
There are 4 servings of 25 milligrams, so there's 100 milligrams in the tin.
So I have to say, when I was in my capacity as a writer for Dope, I had the opportunity to meet Maya. She's so lovely, and you're going to be in Dope magazine. I'm not sure if it's going to be the next issue or the issue after.
Thank you so much.
But that's going to be awesome. And then they gave me this bag of awesome, amazing products. We're going to go through as many as you're comfortable going through. And I got the tree hugger, and we were driving home, and I ate. I wasn't driving; he was driving, and I ate a couple bites, and it was so delicious, devoid of any of the real harsh flavors of weed. I ended up eating the whole jar, and it was really nice, light buzz. Actually, yeah, I ate I ate about 2/3 of the jar, about 75 milligrams, which is comfortable dose for me. And I just really like the product, so I wasn't surprised at all when you won.
Thank you so
Now
much.
you have a base product, a product that you started out with, like you're the truffle lady, kind of, right?
The truffle was our first most popular edible.
And tell us about that truffle.
Yes, please.
Now, the truffle, we received a third place High Times Cup in 2011, San Francisco. It's a Belgium chocolate hard shell around the outside with organic peanut butter and puffed rice and organic cannabis flowers infused
Delicious.
into butter.
I gotta try that too.
And it's 175 milligrams for one truffle, and we call them buttercups.
Nice. Now, I wish I'd been more prepared because we can pop up pictures and stuff here. But their truffles are so amazing. They have like stars and hearts, and they have sugar printing on there. Is that what is it called?
Oh, yes. Those ones were special cup edition truffles. Yes, we did those just for the cup.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You can put designs on your truffles with colored cocoa butter.
Oh, that's just too
Yeah.
cute.
You got to. I'll show you some pictures of those. We'll put some pictures of those up too on the what were we just talking about Facebook page. Now, there's something unique about your dispensary, or the growers and your collective. That's the word I'm looking for. Sorry, not dispensary.
No problem.
What is the what is it? Tell us what's so special about it.
Well, we are an all-female collective. We've all known each other for anywhere from 5 to 15 years, and we happen to be all ladies.
Nice.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Now, what are some of the strains that you guys are putting in your edibles?
Well, we made our own strains. It was a Cookie Fam collaboration. We're calling it the Ladies Line. And what we did was we crossed the Cookie Fam genetics with our genetics, which are all great for growing outdoor. And we made our own unique varieties. So we really tried to get a full spectrum, and we also make strain-specific edibles and topicals tailored to our patients' needs.
That's amazing. You gave me some of your topicals. I've been using it like when I was walking around at the High Times Cup. My feet were so sore, even though I was wearing my Crocs. I rubbed that balm on there. Or is it a balm? The tiger,
Yes.
the lion balm. Sorry.
Lion balm.
I rubbed the lion balm on there, and the pain vanishes. It's an amazing product. THC is amazing topically.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. We get a lot of really positive feedback about that product because everything in there is medicinal. It's got shea butter and cocoa butter. Both of those really heal dry, cracked skin and soothe the skin and nurture and moisturize the skin. And all the oils we put in there are organic carrier oils that contain vitamins and minerals as well, like apricot oil has 17, which has been known to kill cancer cells. So we just try to make sure we use the best ingredients possible.
So if weed were totally legal, they'd probably be selling your stuff at like Whole Foods and
yes.
Trader Joe's, huh?
They have cannabis-infused avocado seed oil. I'm really interested in that. That's really cool.
Oh, I was rude. Maya, my producer today is Harry Pothead.
How you doing?
And
Hi,
he actually is really into your products. Did you want to ask her about that anointing oil?
Oh, yeah.
Because I was showing him the products before the show.
The holy anointing oil. That's something I'm really interested in. I'm a really big spiritual activist. I'm really into most, spiritual beliefs, and just to see this was really surprising. And you say the recipe is found in Exodus 30:22 to Exodus 30:25.
That's correct.
That's
I
awesome.
received that recipe from a cannabis church, and the whole community of this cannabis church revolves around this holy anointing oil. Actually, a friend of mine gave it to me from them, and it's the recipe as it exists in the Bible. It calls for cinnamon and myrrh and cassia bark, which is just the cinnamon tree bark. And yeah, it's amazing stuff. I get a lot of feedback from people that get massages with it, that it's super relaxing and calming.
This is amazing. This is a really cool little. I did not expect this at all. I was really interested in that.
So where can people get your products right now on the shelf?
You can find us located in the Bay Area. We are at CBCB Berkeley, Phytology, Purple Heart, Grassroots, Barbary Coast, Vallejo Organics, MetaThrive, Vapor Room, the Love Shack, and I hope I'm getting everyone. There might be one or two that I'm missing. But we also have a website where you can find a list of those dispensaries, and it's called omedibles.org.
Right, we're going to put that up. And then also you can go to Dope Magazine, and your ad has them listed, right?
Absolutely, it sure does.
Yeah, so I think I forgot to announce, I'm officially writing. Dope Magazine is on the shelves, everybody. I wrote under Cal Greenfield, and then Ron Mullins did a bunch of photography. We're already working on August issue. July issue should be out somewhere early July, right around the 4th of July weekend. So that's exciting. So what's up next for Om Edibles? Do you have any new products that you're developing that you want to debut for our 2 viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. We did release a few new products. One is the Tree Hugger. Another is the high CBD raw sipping cacao. It's
Which
a
we're
chocolate
sipping now.
superfood. Yes, and then another is our bubbling Epsom salt and Pacific sea salt soak. And it's lemon, ginger, and eucalyptus. It's really rejuvenating and cleansing
And I can
and
account for
also
that firsthand too. True story. I lost my keys during the ASA lobby day, and I was running around the block. According to Google Fit, I actually walked for 3 hours, and my hips hurt, my knees hurt. And I thought, that's it for me. It was Tuesday. No, it was a Monday, and I'm like, I'm just taking the rest of the week off. I am dead. And then I looked in that bag of samples you gave me, and I was like, I'm going to try this because I'm like, I make various medicines from cannabis and herbs too, but physician heal thyself. I'm very guilty of giving my products away and not using them. So I threw that in the bath, and it was just a complete transformation. I came out of the clawfoot tub completely pain-free. I rejuvenated. It was amazing. So that product,
that's amazing.
totally worth it. It's like, what, $15 for a big jar of it for the one bath?
This whole jar is $15.
No, we're talking about Epsom salt.
Oh.
Was that right? Did I get the price point right on that?
I believe most people retail it at 12.
12. See, even better.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I was talking about your products, and we were going over Dope Magazine with my friend from ATA, and she's interested. So as soon as you're in SAC, I'll hook you up. Kim Carr.
Sounds great.
Yeah, she's a great gal, and she works with me in the activism and normal and all that great stuff. So that'd be a great thing too. And ironically, do you remember being in Oregon and meeting a very tall boy man named Patrick? He remembers you.
In Oregon?
Yeah. Ashland, Oregon.
I don't know.
Yeah, he goes, he was looking at your products, and he says, oh yeah, I met Maya up in Oregon, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, he just came to the door in the middle of the podcast. I tell him to go away. He's back in town. He's staying at the neighbors, and I think he wanted to be on the podcast, but you have to be here by 4. You can't just knock on the door. We're trying to run a professional thing here. So, all right. So is there anything else you want to let our audience know before we let you go?
Everybody, I hope you just have a wonderful weekend, and thanks for listening to me, and thanks for having me on the show. And
anytime. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you.
Tell the other girls I said hello.
I know they all send their love.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
More power to you, girl.
Bye-bye. So we got a little time to kill. I think Clint Werner said he would call somewhere between now and 5. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and transition into our topic of the show today, which is something we covered a couple weeks ago. And a brief, very brief history. Harvey Milk was a assembly member for San Francisco. Not assembly member. What was his title? I don't even know now. I blame the sipping cacao.
The sipping cacao.
Harvey Milk, political activist who recruited Dennis Perone and got him active supervisor. He was a supervisor. And Dennis Perone later went on to use his activism to get Prop 215 passed. Dennis Perone happens to be motivated to bring cannabis to AIDS patients because of a personal relationship and someone he loved that died. So the mindset of being an outsider like a gay person, and rather than accepting the status quo and letting it go, I think was activated by the fact that he was gay, because we're stuck outside the norm, and we're forced to try to battle our way in for a seat at the table. So I think he probably, and I would love to get Dennis on, but he's so busy. He was basically started the medical marijuana movement. Him and a bunch of people helped write Prop 215, but he was the gay one, and we're focused on the gay right now. Now, in the gay movement, we've seen from just being kind of a quiet, in the closet, backwater, secret gay bars, harassed by police, transition into a functioning part of our capitalistic society, subgroup of people that they actually try to sell to. They're what do you call it? A demographic. They're fighting over pasta, and who's going to put a pasta commercial up that shows gay people, and who won't. And then when the one said he wouldn't, the gays boycotted it. And the other day, Barillo, is recanted. Did you hear that one, Harry?
Oh goodness.
You knew about Barillo, right? Barillo pasta. Anyways, so the gay movement, today they've got gay marriage. They got I'm a gay man. We got military access and all these things that we've been focused on and fighting for in America, a country that's supposed to promote personal opportunity and freedom and freedom to do what one will, so long as it doesn't harm others. So we move forward. It turns out cannabis is amazing for HIV/AIDS. It does miracle things. So what are some of the things that the people in the gay community benefit from marijuana?
Well, for starters, there's being in the closet is very stressful. Let's just strike the white elephant in the room.
Well, and it can cause PTSD.
It can cause the amount of depression, anxiety-based disorders, the kind of PTSD that can distribute itself in the LGBTQA plus community is absolutely horrendous. People really love to attribute PTSD to, war heroes and people who come back from war, but the people who are really getting it bad are people who are, individuals from the deep South who have been sexually assaulted multiple times and don't feel safe interacting even with others of the community, so I feel like it would be so beneficial if we as a community could just sit down and be able to have our medicine in relative freedom, because there is a stigma with smoking, and it's almost like, why would you want to add more for people to throw at you?
And that's a valid point. Okay, so PTSD, cancer, testicular cancer, prostate cancer, but
cancer.
What do you call it? Harm reduction. A lot of gay people get hooked up in hard drugs when they're young,
a large
and when they're older, they use cannabis to get off of hard drugs. It's cigarettes and alcohol the same.
Exactly.
It's a good alternative to those, which are really saturated in the gay community.
They're so saturated in the gay community. It's one of the reasons I as a young man didn't feel safe going into gay bars, because I felt like I was going to be around my people, but the seedier side of my people.
Right.
The people who were going around and, not even say willingly, but reaching for these hard chemicals that were destroying their body and mind and visibly making them into unpleasant people.
Yep.
That I couldn't do it.
So I, as a gay man, I'll tell you my journey. I never used cannabis as a young person. There was issues with my dad having used cannabis, and my mother was an anti-drug in general activist, ran halfway houses and stuff. So I made it to 26 sick and sorry. I drank on the weekend, smoked cigarettes like a chimney, and then I would take psych meds that were prescribed to me when somebody suggested me marijuana. Well, I was doing a TV show called Being Gay Today. I was one of the hosts and all this stuff. And when I switched to marijuana, my concern about my clothes and all these other little weird things that the gay community kind of demands of you became kind of inane. So they literally started calling me a hippie because of my change in style and hairstyle and dress, and mocked me. I got mocked by people. And basically, people who use cannabis are kind of on the outskirts. They're kind of laughed at. A lot of people, like you said, they don't need another problem to be identified with. So even if they are out gay people, they keep secret about their marijuana. So then as I transitioned from, I was a hippie, I'll admit it. I started sewing shirts and wearing tie-dye and grew my hair out longer, grew a beard I never had before. And, you know, and whatever, but it doesn't matter. But as I transitioned into kind of like something in between and became a cannabis activist, I have made inroads into the gay community and found all these people who don't like to drink, who have certain illnesses, HIV one of them, who smoke marijuana but don't tell any of their gay friends. It's kind of cute. We had a co-sponsored meeting where the marijuana community was going to come address somebody in the in the gay community, and one of the planners come up to me and says, I knew you people were your people were coming, so I got a big buffet. It was being nice and funny, and I happened to know that this person was also a cannabis user, but he identified himself as not with us. And I go, don't you mean us? And he goes, shh, afraid somebody around was going to hear. And it was so reminiscent of like being gay in the 60s, you know. So, you know, it's about personal freedom, and I think being gay is about personal freedom. And then let's go on the flip flop. In the marijuana community, there's still problems with homophobia.
I personally have experienced a lot of homophobia, overt homophobia in the cannabis community. You know, people who...
Clint says he's calling on Facebook. Is it him?
It says it missed the call. It never rang.
Oh, should we call him back?
Yeah, call him back.
That's your phone. Will you do it? Sorry. So finish your thought, and we're going to call Clint back as you're finishing your thought. Because this is. Did you forget what we were just talking about? Because that's kind of the theme of the show, and it's okay.
No. What I was going to say is that. Oh, good.
Hi, Clint.
There we go.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm very happy. Good day.
Let me do introductions real quick. Hey, everybody in the audience, this is Clint Werner, author of the book Marijuana Gateway to Health. Clint, you're on with me. Ron, you know me. But also we have Harry Pothead, the token millennial who's running the board today. And we're going to all three have a nice little chit-chat.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good. Where we were at was we're just getting to the point how there's benefits that the gay community gets from using cannabis, HIV, of course, being the biggest one, and then other ancillary illnesses, all the way down to PTSD from bullying, being in the closet, social anxiety, alcohol addiction and abatement, and other drugs that, you know, we get socially conditioned into. We could use cannabis instead as a what do you call that? Harm reduction.
Harm reduction, yeah.
But then you have, in the cannabis community, you have kind of farmers, it mixed in the community. I'd say a large portion of the community, and I think the plant is attributed to that. They're very open-minded and they're very kind. But there's a faction that has almost used to have an inordinate amount of pull in the marijuana community that was, if not homophobic, then maybe homo-insensitive.
No, it's homophobia. It has roots in sexism. I've seen.
Have you experienced that?
Yeah, it's.
Sorry. Have you experienced that, Clint?
Not so much, but I've been for so many years in San Francisco.
True.
Where we've just been so far ahead of the curve here, where it really doesn't matter, who you love as long as you love. And so we don't have, and so much of what's been done here has been done by the gay community in terms of reforming marijuana laws, or at least has been promoted by members of the gay community. And so I can't really say I've seen too much of that. I mean, there was an individual in the major national organization that I thought was kind of heterocentric, hetero-condescending. I'm not going to mention any names. He's had his own issues, but he said a few things to me that I thought were a little snotty, but that's about as far as it's gone, fortunately for me.
Now here in Sacramento, we're a little more cowtown, and then I travel like to Butte and Yuba, and then the biggest thing, because Sacramento's pretty good. I wouldn't say as good as San Francisco, but Facebook. You get hooked up with people from all over the place on Facebook, and I found people who want to be my friend on Facebook because they see me speak at an event or whatever. And then at some point I post something hella gay on my Facebook. And then, I've had them delete me or make a rude comment. And so, and then the other thing was I won an award, Activist of the Year at a fundraiser, and everybody got to sign the cup. And someone in this audience of cannabis enthusiasts wrote the word fag on the cup.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so,
I hope they lose their hand.
It's definitely, I'm not trying to say it's prevalent, okay? But there's that element that we still need to deal with. And I just wish the two communities would embrace each other more overall, the state, and because I think that the marijuana movement has a lot to learn from the gay movement.
Right.
Yeah, it's the
definitely
model.
A model for being out and not buying the general zeitgeist of negativity about your behavior.
Exactly.
It's not a crime. It's not immoral. It's it's fine and it's great for adults.
Now let's.
One thing I was thinking about that you were talking about earlier, and I hope you don't mind me just mentioning this, when you talked about how aside from HIV, even prior to HIV, there was a sort of balm of sore minds that cannabis works on for people who are in a marginal class, and to maybe soothe some of that self-awareness and fear of going out and living life in an honest way. And there's a great scene in the film Boys in the Band. I don't know if you remember that film.
I do.
Film about gay life in, I think, about 67, 69. And this guy comes to his birthday party, and he's a little late, and he's smoking a joint, and someone criticizes him. He says, "What I am, Michael, is a 32-year-old pock-marked Jew fairy, and if it takes me smoking a little reefer before I'm willing to show my face in public, it's nobody's goddamn business but my own. And how are you?" So there is that aspect, in a sense of helping psychologically to deal with the slings and arrows that have been thrown at the gay community and gay individuals so heavily in the recent past and continuing today, but albeit to a much less degree.
Well, I had psychological issues, a child of the 80s. It wasn't horrible, but it was really bizarre how flamboyant and gay people were in the public eye in dress and appearance, but still, like in Roseville in 1987, I was terrified of coming out. So by the time I was in my early 20s, they were putting me on lithium and Valium and all this stuff to help me deal with that. And it never worked. But once I started smoking pot, it really matured me in a lot of ways mentally, to where when I look back at my problems as an early 20-year-old, I laugh and I'm like, oh, what a drama queen I was, because because I don't feel those intense, crazy, obsessive emotions, crush on a guy. Well, maybe that's because I've been together with a guy for 16 years, but that's also its own medicine. But yeah, I think it does. It takes the mind out of the drama, and that's kind of too what we deal with as people who smoke marijuana. when drama comes, they don't want to deal with it. They're like, dude, go away. Hey, okay, so today's a historic day. So that's kind of why we're talking about gay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's funny. A friend in Texas called me because I just sort of thought it was going to come Monday. I just, had written it off as coming today. Some experts said it wouldn't probably come today, and I'm sitting listening to classical music reading, and I get a call from Texas at 7 in the morning. I'm like, what's this about? And my friend goes, we won. And I'm like, no way. So it is hugely historic. It is a massive ratification of human liberty and justice for all.
Now you're married, right?
Yeah, we've been married several times because we got married. The state annulled us. Then
so you were one of them in the window at that time, and then you got remarried?
Yeah, and then we had a ceremony with friends a week after they annulled us because we had it planned ahead.
Oh.
And oh my goodness, so then we got married again when it was re-allowed. So I guess we've had 3 marriages, but
to each other.
Yeah.
So now you're legally married.
I'm ready to call it quits for all of this and just nest,
So now though, you're married in all 50 states.
Yeah, we're legal now.
That's amazing. How is your husband?
He's well. He's doing really well. I had to wake him up and tell him this morning. I don't usually do that. I think the last time I woke him up with news was 9/11, so this was a much happier day.
Oh, good.
Oh, thank God.
Can we say who your famous husband is?
Yeah, sure. Donald Abrams.
Dr. Donald Abrams, yes.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey with him. We've been together 21 years, and when we got together, I was just a couple of years out of nursing my best friend through his death with AIDS, and that made me a marijuana activist because I saw what it did for him, and I got to know Dennis Perrone. And then I got together with Donald right about the time he was fighting NIDA to try and obtain research-grade marijuana for a study with AIDS wasting, for people with AIDS and wasting. And he just fought NIDA for years over that because they're not allowed to provide cannabis for benefit research. So, we've been on this path for a long time. And, a lot of activism comes out of this this house. Gay marriage, cannabis, and now he's actually involved in the physician suicide.
Oh, wow.
Bill.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So, and he's not the only one that's famous. You're famous too, right?
I don't care about being famous. I just want to be influential.
There you go. And I think you are.
Fame is an empty bucket, but influence, that's where it's at.
Now, you wrote the book, Marijuana Gateway to Health.
Health. How cannabis protects us from cancer and Alzheimer's disease.
I just want to tell a funny anecdote. We'll talk about the book. I was fortunate enough to travel to Vancouver. Were you in Vancouver with Donald when? No,
I wasn't up there.
No, okay, because he mentioned that some sort of like full disclosure. He says my spouse wrote the book Marijuana Gateway to Health.
Right.
And that was the first time I had heard of it. And then I ended up meeting you at like Seattle Hemp Fest for the first time.
Yeah, was it there or was it down here in San Francisco when we had the one in the
Inchy.
Anyway, one of those two, Inchy or one of those we met. And
so I got a copy of the book, and I got a copy from my mother who did read it. And
good.
And unfortunately though, it's like she's still on they've got her so into the pharmaceuticals, and now where she's staying, there's no way we can have her use cannabis. So
I have the same exact situation. My mother has Alzheimer's, and she's in assisted living, and it's in a state that's not a medical marijuana state. There's no way to.
Doesn't it break your heart?
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's heartbreaking. It's maddening because I really know she could be in much better shape, but. On the other hand, none of us are going to be in good shape if I end up in a North Carolina penitentiary for trying to
just get her
medicine.
Where
she gets kicked out of her assisted living because of a violation or whatever.
Well,
it's a nightmare. It's really insane. In Israel, they're using it in nursing homes to get people off of pharmaceutical agents. and their personalities are coming back. Their communication skills are reawakening.
Do you know about how CBD is relating to this kind of mental decline?
Well, CBD is this weird thing in our culture where we want to have a good cop, a bad cop, and some of the opponents of legalization are really trying to seize on this to say THC is bad and CBD is good because THC is mind altering and CBD isn't. So it's the therapeutic, and that's just nonsense. We did not rediscover medical marijuana because of CBD. We did so because of THC. THC is an enormous workhorse in terms of therapeutic effects. It brings down inflammation. It blocks oxidative stress. It modulates overactive, out-of-control immune functions. And it's really amazing in that sense. Now, CBD tends to modulate the effect of THC. And so together they really seem to work best. But
right, and I'm not a proponent of CBD only.
Right.
But like in my mom's case, we almost had her convinced to try medical cannabis in CBD form.
Right.
And one of the effects, like I use THC and CBD. I use THC as a baseline for basic social anxiety, even appetite, and it works so well I'm overweight. But CBD I find works for my like if I'm having a high cycling bipolar. It's almost like a seizure where you're trembling and you're so upset or angry. And then for some reason, THC will dull me, but CBD actually kind of whisks it away. So actually we're sipping CBD cacao right now from Ohm Edibles. I don't know if you heard of them ladies, but it's having, usually I'm real nervous during these podcasts, worried about, if it's coming off okay or whatever else, but I've been sipping this cacao and I feel like you're right here in the living room having a nice chill time. So I think the entourage effect is important.
It has its role, and that is something that people need to look into. Also, for some people, they get in a bad relationship with cannabis, with THC, and they enjoy the effects, but the heavy THC can be too much for them. And if they switch to a lighter THC with some CBD presence, they might get a much better effect mentally and physically.
Mm-hmm. Right, and I think proper dosing is important. I remember meeting a radical fairy named Omen, and he would only take 3 hits of marijuana 3 times a day. And he said that's all he needed, and that worked. And you know what? Probably did. A lot of our extra medicating, we'll call it, because you can't really over-medicate on marijuana, because that would imply harm, and it really doesn't unless you call sleeping harm.
Well, you can have a bad sort of marooned down-ish bad experience, especially through eating it, or if for some people, I find some people have a worse time with indoor grown than outdoor grown. I think outdoor grown with the sunlight's a little more balanced,
right?
And that sometimes the indoor grown is a little more jangly, sort of the difference between lying in the sun or lying in a tanning bed.
Right.
But people, the worst thing that can generally happen to you is a really unpleasant couple of hours.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't hurt you. And I'm just talking about
as with alcohol.
But I'm talking about not even that, but where like a person who smokes a whole joint rather than 3 puffs. They're not going to have this huge bad effect, but they may get tired, they may get munchies, and maybe they had a little more than they were supposed to. But the effects compared to other things is way worse. And then you could get into the super high doses of edibles, and you can have a freak out or something like that. But that's kind of the exception rather than the rule.
And the irony there is, even though you're having a really terrible, it might seem to be a miserable and somewhat toxic experience, there's no toxicity,
right?
No damage to your organs, no brain damage as with alcohol. In fact, the dose would be working pretty well in your organs to bring down inflammation and damage and harm and protect you. So that's kind of an ironic aspect of it as opposed to alcohol or tobacco or anything else, I think.
So let's talk about the book a little bit. How are sales?
They're steady. They're very, very steady. I've learned to work social media to get it out there and to really use our opponents social media sites to promote my work, which I like, jujitsu, sort of using their energy against them. But it's really, the sales started to lag a few weeks ago, and it got down into lower ranking than it's ever been. But I just did a little more tweeting and activity, and it jumped right back up to a decent level. So it's just good to know it's continuing to reach people and hopefully change minds.
Do you know Robert Plathorn?
I met him. I met him up in Seattle at the Cannabis Cup in, I believe it was September. I was up there.
They should give your book out to their to the grandmas that they seminar with.
Yeah, that would be good because he works with Irv, and I'm pretty good friends with Irv Rosenfeld.
Yeah, I think anybody over 40 should read your book. Everybody should read it, but especially people over 40.
Right.
Because it's important to learn how the cannabis technically, not just but how it specifically affects our specific processes and helps with things like apoptosis, promoting apoptosis.
Right.
I'm trying to speak out of my realm. I should let you talk right now.
I just was going to say, Bill, I jumped in. The AMA, there was a whole spate of AMA pieces that came out, and one of the headlines was, there's scant evidence that medical marijuana is effective for very much. Basically that was the headline. And our opponents, took it and said, look, marijuana doesn't work. Here we see marijuana just doesn't work much at all. It's not very good for anything, despite the claims. And that's really this complete distortion of what the evidence says, because what you see from this report is that there's just not enough research being done, because it's so impossible to conduct research into the benefits.
Like they work.
And so hopefully my book will provide an understanding, and other people's writing, Paul Armentano, an understanding that there is a system that underlies these effects. It's not just a willy-nilly group of anecdotal reports. There is a consistent biological process that happens when cannabinoids are supplemented into the body. And what this is the attenuating, the blocking of the processes that lead to disease, various diseases, depending on what part of the body they manifest in. And so there's not evidence that marijuana is not effective. There is a lack of evidence that's been generated that it is effective because of irrational restrictions.
Right.
And I think my book really addresses this body of research and explains what the common denominator is in all these healing effects that we get from cannabis.
So, are you going to the Pride Festival Sunday?
Oh, I am. I'm going to have to now. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I also have tickets to this Grateful Dead event.
Oh, nice.
Saturday and Sunday. I used to see a lot of shows, and so I'm going to be a mess on Monday. My old bones are going to ache.
A couple of old school Deadheads just came through here traveling with my buddy Patrick.
Oh, yeah.
And they're headed up there, dude.
People.
It's going to be big. It's going to be a lot of Deadheads. So,
yeah, I saw about 340 Dead shows and probably about 40 to 80 Jerry Garcia shows.
now you're making me want to go. I went to the Further Festival. And I was like, it's over. But maybe they're going to recapture it. Do you like the headliner? What's the fish guy? That's the new.
I'm not into fish, but I think he's a gifted, and I don't mean this in a derogatory sense, but something of a mimic, because they've been known to play whole albums by other artists and do it really well. And I think that what this is it's not really a Grateful Dead concert. It's a salute to the Grateful Dead. It's sort of like a review, a Grateful Dead review, a celebration of the music and the culture.
Awesome.
So, Jerry died on my birthday 20 years ago.
Oh.
And unless they get cloning really perfected and sort of download his consciousness into the clone, I don't guess we'll ever be there again. But it was a neat. It was a beautiful thing. It was a free space for people to be who they wanted to be and to share, and it was just a beautiful thing. You could drop your masks and dance together and sing together and just be human.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm glad they're doing that. I might try to come down for the Pride. I kept thinking it was Saturday, and Keith just couldn't get off. But if it's Sunday, he's just teaching yoga. He might be able to skip it. Maybe we'll come down and say hi. We don't have a lot of money, but my mom's staying at that hospital up there. We could visit her and just come for the day and go back. So if I do, I'll definitely hit you up and say hey and see where you're running around at.
Yeah, because I was probably going to skip it because of the whole Grateful Dead scene, you know.
Right.
Just thinking it would be too much, but not now. I was thinking they were going to announce Monday and spoil the party, but hey, this is going to be big.
All right, my last
huge weekend for freedom.
My last question before we let you go: what are you smoking right now?
Oh, I am blessed. I got a whole assortment from the High Times Cannabis Cup.
Oh, nice.
And okay, let me put a plug in for some really good people. There's, I guess it was Tahoe OG from Craft, Craft, and they do delivery in the East Bay.
Nice.
And they grow organic. It's indoor, but it's organic and it's clean green certified. And they took second place in the hybrid category that I judged, and it's top notch. They're great people. They're wonderful. Their products top notch, and I highly recommend them. They have some really good Skywalker OG.
Love that.
They won number 1 in the CBD buds at the Cup this year too, so they got 2 big wins. I like that a lot.
Awesome. You know, we didn't run into each other at the Cup, did we?
No, we didn't.
I was there, but you know, I was so big. I was at the MCLR booth a lot, but I tried to see as many booths as I could, and I did a lot of dabs, and it was fun.
That's the only time I do dabs is when I'm at one of those events. I'm an old school butt guy, you know.
Yeah, me too. I'm not a big dabber, but yeah, I think I'm going to start going to cons dressed as Gandalf, and with the big long pipe, and do photo ops with people. I actually ordered the cosplay quality Gandalf robe just the other day.
Oh, you should. You know, either that or write a book and people will hand you all kinds of stuff.
No, because I just think, yeah, that's true. But I think it would be fun because we need more characters walking around. I'm going to fuse cosplay with the marijuana thing. We need more, because I got my picture with this big bud guy with the big green head. Did you see that?
That guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need more of that, especially now with the selfie culture. I think it's perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for spending time with us on our little podcast. And
hey, thanks for having me on. And I hope I see you guys if we run into each other.
Oh, we will.
That'd be great. Give Keith a hug.
I will. And I'll if I come, I'll make sure you know so we can look for each other.
Okay, and congratulations on this wonderful day of freedom.
Amen.
Thank you, man.
All right.
Anti-marriage is at last dead.
Amen. Take care.
All right. Thanks. Be well.
I listened to. I cut him off. I was listening to a report today. They're actually going to rewrite the tax code to take out the gender specific of marriage in there.
Oh, really?
So it's all happening. It's all changing.
Well, thank God.
We got a few minutes left. We ran for an hour. We usually go to about 5:30. That was awesome to have Clint. Generally, we have the stoner translator, but Clint didn't really need it. He speaks pretty straightforward.
Yeah, he was pretty straightforward.
So we were medicating with the cacao, but as I said, the CBD, I like to complement with some THC. And I got me this Gold Drop pen from Gold Drop in the Bay Area. Taste that. It's this amazing taste. I'd like to get to know that guy's product more. A shout out too for Cloud Coil. I got me a Cloud Coil at the High Times Cup, and it is, if you don't know Cloud Coil, it's at cloudcoil.us,
That tastes like honey.
I think. You can Google it for sure, and we'll put a link on our Facebook and on our. You like that?
That tastes like cotton candy.
Doesn't it? It's sweet. It's suspiciously sweet. But
oh my goodness, that was wonderful.
but it tastes healthy. It doesn't taste chemically or anything,
no,
right?
not at all.
And so that's the Gold Drop. I don't remember the strain. Shout out to Gold Drop. I'm pretty sure you can
That was
Google
lovely,
them
Gold
also.
Drop.
And I'll find a link. Yeah, that is good. I'll find a link, and we'll put that on our Facebook and on our YouTube thingy. And remember to like us and to follow us. And what's the other one? Like, follow, comment, repost, share.
Yes, please.
Yeah, because we're going to try to grow this little show. It's trying to be a non-corporate, fun show. So we're not committing to every Friday. We might even switch from Friday, and we're taking away our commitment to do it at 4:20 because of the crazy schedule. But now that we have a backup of Harry,
you might be able to do
Harry
it at 4:20.
Pothead, what?
You might be able to do it at 4:20. Now you got Harry Pothead.
Yeah, now we can, so just keep an eye. Revron, you can email me at revron420@gmail. I'm all over the Google sphere. And then on Facebook, go to Revron. And there is also What Were We Just Talking About on Facebook. I try to post the stuff that we were talking about. So if you forgot, then you'll be able to remember. So Cloud Coil, I got sidetracked telling them all about that. Cloud Coil, it coils around any nail, plug it in, boom, e-nail.
You literally just dab. There's no waiting. There's no
Seriously.
torches.
I feel like I'm on CBC now because I am overly impressed by this product. And I did make friends with the creator of it a little bit on Facebook, and we spoke, and she told sweetheart, so I really feel good about promoting them, such as it is with my how many viewers? How many viewers we got, Harry?
Oh, we got 5.
Oh, 5! All right, that's our new record. Usually, Wisecraft will push a clapping button, but it's obnoxious, so I'm not going to teach you how to do that.
Perfect.
But Cloud Coil, it goes on your nail. They even sell these cool little glass nails. You pop it on there, you plug it in, you turn the dial, you can get the more $250 one, and there's like a digital readout. The nail heats up, boom, dab, hand it over, other person dab, boom, no torch, no mess. Love it.
Stay away from the coil.
If I expand this, because you guys are sharing it and all that stuff, maybe I'll be able to. I was thinking about making some fun comedy YouTube commercials. I would love to make a YouTube commercial for that. And the reality is, dabbers out there, only angry villagers should be wielding torches.
It's true. It's really true.
Now, I'm not going to hate on the torch because it is handy on the go, but for at-home dabbing or anywhere where you have an AC plug, you can do the Cloud Coil. All right. So I really like that product. I got a shout out to Mouthpiece. Mouthpiece.us, I'm pretty sure is their site. You can Google that. That's Mouthpiece, like in hey, peace, man. MOUTHPEACE. It's this little rubber device. It's a cone. There's a lot of jokes about looking like a sex toy. You get over that when you realize how genius it is. Put a joint in one end, hit it, take the joint out, pass it. You never touch the lips of that hippie that might have got it all wet. You flip it around. You put the cone in the tip of a bong. The mouthpiece of a bong, and hit the bong, and it's got these ribs, so you can go any size bong all the way down to the smallest little hole from a little dab rig.
Or a piece, like a pipe. You can use that too.
Yeah. So I got me a few of these. I love them. I love the guys. They were like fresh millennials with this great new idea.
Rubber's hypoallergenic, so you'll never get germs on it.
Amen. Yeah. I was laughing my butt off because I'm looking at all this new tech, e-nails. They've got clicker pens now to get the dabs in there. All this high tech.
I love it.
And I was thinking, God, dabbing's been around for a while. It's just that we haven't been dabbing THC. They've been dabbing other things, and it was called freebasing. And what did the crackheads come up with? Lighter and a spoon. But as soon as it became a stoner thing, we have all these innovations, taking it away from the grotesque crack lighter thing. Elegant coil, plugs in the wall, and you just drop it on there. But really, it's an amazing way to vaporize, and it keeps it clean, and it gets rid of all that some of those plant residues. So we're about good to close the show. I think we did good.
Yeah.
We're going to go back and listen to it. See.
I only got one last thing to say because I think it's a good closing statement.
Okay.
And just that this is a big victory today to the queer community as a queer man myself. And I just want to send all my love to everyone who's listening, and to remind everybody that while this is wonderful, just like gay marriage and just like marijuana legislation, we can't stop there. We got to go deeper. We got to protect our people, and we got to treat them right. We have to get them out of a prison for simple crimes of marijuana. We have to decriminalize. That's just we can't stop there.
Amen. And we got to stay safe too, because when the law stops persecuting people, like in the case of not letting them get married and they're allowed to get married, people who've been programmed by the old laws uphold the law themselves, and they fire people from their jobs, they brutalize them. So we could see an uptick of negativity towards LGBTQ people. So everybody stay safe. Have a good weekend. If you can, get out to San Francisco Pride on Sunday.
Have a good safe time. Enjoy Pink Saturday.
Hey, yeah, Pink Saturday. Woo! All right, take care, and you know which button to push to take us out.
Yep. Have a good night, you guys.
All right. Good night.